Pac-12 critics, you could say we're starting from the bottom up. Pac-12 fans, let's just say we're going from left to right. Welcome into the voice of college football, and welcome to our all-time program rankings. We have devised a formula, and please check out the initial video to understand what our formula is. We've got 10 criteria. We are giving various weight to each category, and we will explain our point system later in the video. Let's look at the Pac-12, but please, first, hit the like button, subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Best discussion, debate, and analysis because of your contribution. Share the videos out on social media as well. And, of course, once you subscribe, got to hit that bell for the notifications to know when we go live, which is constantly. All right, the Pac-12 was founded in 1915. Cal, Washington, Oregon, and Oregon State. Washington State joined 2 years later. Stanford in 18, USC in 1922, but they quickly caught up from a championship standpoint, and UCLA in 1928. Fast forward 50 years later in 1978, it became the Pac-10 when Arizona and Arizona State joined. And then just here in 2011, Utah and Colorado, the Buffs coming in from the Big 12 to form the Pac-12. All right, let's look at our first criteria, winning percentage. This is the most important element. Do you win the games on the field? This cannot be manipulated in any way. Winning percentage, and USC owns the Pac-12, and they also own the largest discrepancy between the number one team in a conference and the second place team with their winning percentage lead over Washington. USC at 695 over Washington at 614. Arizona State, along with Washington, above 60%. There you see Stanford, UCLA, Colorado, and Oregon between 571 and 578, all bunched in there in third, fourth, fifth, and sixth place. Oregon State is the only sub-500 team all-time in the conference. The Beavers have lost 70 more games that they have won in the history of college football. We will convert this into a point total. Basically, you're taking these winning percentages, and we're going to double them. Why? Because our next criteria, AP rankings. So there's an AP rankings formula that determines if you finish number one in the country for a particular year, you get so many points. I believe 25. If you finish number two, you get 24, and on down the line. That if you finish number 25 in the country, you get 1 point. And we explain in the previous video what we believe to be the value of the AP ranking. So they've got a poll system, point system, and we have applied that as well. USC has a 356-point lead over UCLA all time. This is the second best mark in college football for a conference leader over a number two team. Alabama has the largest percentage lead for AP poll votes over the number two team in the SEC. Washington's at number 3, Stanford at 4, Oregon 5, Colorado 6. Again, keep in mind that these teams joined the conference at various times, but that is the all-time AP poll ranking point system. The AP poll started in 1936. Major bowl wins. So we counted up all the bowl wins, and then we distributed the major bowl wins to account for those more significant victories. We are giving 2 points for major bowl wins, just 1 point for the other bowl wins for each school. USC by far has the most major bowl wins with 27. UCLA, Stanford, and Washington with 8. It continues to further underline the dominance of USC in football in the Pac-12. The rest of the Pac-12 only has 44 major bowl wins. USC by themselves have 27, and just about all of those are in the Rose Bowl. In terms of all-time bowl wins, USC has only won 7 other bowl games besides their major bowl victories. And, of course, there was a point in time for a long time in which a team in the Pac-12, the Pac-8 at the time, or the Big Ten could only play in the Rose Bowl, a major bowl. Total bowl wins, USC leads with 34. Washington and Utah come in at 18 and 17. We've got a number of teams at 15. And again, the bowl points given 1 point for a minor bowl win, 2 for a major bowl victory. We'll tally up the points at the conclusion. Conference championships. Like winning percentage, this cannot be distorted in any way. It has nothing to do with any kind of human involvement. It's completely objective, except for the schedule, which can factor into, of course, a conference race. The conference championships, a objective measure. Now, the conference championships, keep in mind here that we see many of them were won elsewhere. We cannot go through all-time program rankings and then apply them to each conference without this being a bit of an issue here. But USC, again, has clearly dominated the Pac-12. Now, the number 2 and 3 teams in the Pac-12 in terms of all-time conference championships won those conference championships for the most part elsewhere. Colorado and Utah won their championships elsewhere. Of course, not in the Pac-12. They've only been in the conference for 11 seasons. UCLA, Arizona State, and Washington. Those are the Pac-12 championships, other than Arizona State, of course, joining the conference in 1978. You see, as long as Oregon State and Washington State have been a part of the Pac-12, which they are basically original members in the first few years of the foundation of the conference, they still have only won 5 and 4 Pac-12 championships, respectively. All right, on to national championships. And as we explained in the initial video, don't go to your claimed national championships because these schools will do whatever they want in terms of claiming bogus national championships. Also, we are not relying on the AP. I've gone through the last 100 years of college football and each national championships to determine what was legit and what is not. So we have multiple national champions for many years, especially during the poll era. USC with 8 national championships. And just to create a controversy here, when was their last national championship? Officially, it was either in 2003 or 2004 when they defeated Oklahoma in the BCS championship game. According to our rundown here in reviewing each and every season, USC gains a split national championship in 2007. 5 teams in the Pac-12 have no national championships. Utah won a national championship in 1926. Washington with national championships all shared national titles in 1960, 84, and 91. Now on to the NFL draft. And again, the NFL draft selections do not factor into what happened on the field, the performance, the results on the field in college football, but still definitely a category of prestige for college football programs to brag about their players moving on to the next level. And it certainly points to success at the collegiate level. And again, USC is flat out dominant. They are number 2 all-time in all-time drafted players. They have a 190-player lead over UCLA. Washington checks in at number 3, and we'll continue to see this theme with USC dominating, but also UCLA and Washington on that next tier. Colorado, Cal, Arizona State, Stanford, all in the mid-200s here in terms of the NFL draft. Now let's look at number 1 draft picks. First-round selections. And, of course, USC dominates here as well with 83. That's the second best mark all time to Ohio State. UCLA checks in with a paltry because it's number 2 in the conference, 36. Several teams in the 20s. Utah with only 8 players drafted in the first round for a program with such a storied history and certainly success in the big time over the past 10 years in the Pac-12, but even before that as a group of 5, even though that's not what we called it at the time in some minor conference play, that Utah obviously had tremendous seasons in 04 and 08 and really perform on the field, but with only 8 first-round draft selections. Now let's look at All-Americans. USC doubles up UCLA 82-41. There you see the rest of the list in the Pac-12. And again, this is a subjective measurement by Associated Press writers, but we give it for that reason. We give it some value, but not much value, and we will explain the point totals at the end. Heisman trophies, another runaway for the Trojans, unlike any other category. USC, yes, Reggie Bush, we're going to give you back your Heisman. 7 for the Trojans, 1 for 5 other schools in the Pac-12. So 6 schools in the Pac-12 have yet to win their first Heisman. 5 schools with 1, USC with 7. 7 of the 12 in the conference. And finally, we ran down the number of major awards that we are reviewing and counting for our formula. It's basically one major award for each position on the field. And once again, USC, though, this is the first time somebody finally catches USC. Arizona with 8 major awards, along with USC's 8. You've got UCLA and Colorado with 7. The Cal Golden Bears, despite factoring very favorably with the NFL draft selections, Cal is the only team in the Pac-12 that has never won a major award. A Heisman, Mackey, Biletnikoff, Nagurski, Lombardi, Bednarik, Butkus, Davey O'Brien, Doak Walker, Thorpe Award, Ray got nothing out of the Cal Golden Bears. It all adds up like this. Keeping in mind that winning percentage counts for 2 points, meaning if you've got a 500 all-time record, then you get 1,000 points. If your all-time record is 655, let me do the math, you get 1,310 points. Why did we do that? Well, because we're also factoring the AP ranking, and most of those point totals came in between somewhere between 500 and 1,200. So we didn't want to make AP rankings more important than winning percentage. We wanted to make winning percentage more important than anything. So winning percentage gets 2 points, and the AP rank 1 point for every point in the AP ranking system. Major bowl wins get 2 wins, 2 points, and bowl wins not of the major variety. And we went through the years, and of course the major bowl games have somewhat stayed the same, but have changed a few. The Peach Bowl, for example, is now a New Year's 6 game and a major bowl win. And that wasn't always the case. So we have changed the criteria and looked at knowing what the major bowl games have changed and what they have been through the generations. Major bowl wins 2 points each. Other bowl wins 1 point each. Conference championships, you get 3 points for a conference championship. You get 5 points for a national championship. And again, these are adjusted national championships based on what's fair, reasonable, logical, based on the performance on the field, not these ridiculous AP rankings or claimed national championships. Throw them out. We redistributed national championships fairly. The NFL draft. There are so many players taken. USC, for example, with 517 players in the NFL draft. We took those as a half a point. Same with first-round picks. Also with All-Americans and award winners, we went with a half point each. We did not want those to factor and change the impact of the winning percentage. So if a particular school had 25 award winners and another school had 12, we didn't think that that should make up a 13% difference in winning percentage. So only a half point for NFL draft selections, first-round selections, All-Americans, award winners, Heisman Trophy. Supposed to be the best player in the country. It goes to a quarterback now. It goes to a running back traditionally when it was a running game. 1 point to Heisman Trophy winners. So the final tally for the Pac-12 looks like this, not surprisingly. USC in dominant fashion. Almost 2,800 points, 2,792. UCLA comes in second at 1,913. Washington at 1,880. Then a drop with Stanford, Colorado, Arizona State, and Oregon bunched in at over 1,600. Utah, of course, like Colorado, accomplished and accumulated most of its points outside the Pac-12. Cal at 1,514. Arizona, joining the conference in 1978, came in 10th place. And by far, Washington State and Oregon State have had the most abysmal performances in the Pac-12 over the course of the history of the conference. Our all-time program rankings has applied to the Pac-12. We will come back with another conference on Tuesday. We're going to go through all the conferences. Then we are going to select those schools outside the Power Five that factor into the national rankings, that are a major factor. We'll put it all together, and we will certainly list our all-time program rankings right here at the Voice of College Football. Would love to hear your comments down below. Please lock it in, and we will see you next time.